Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 17, and we have a lot to talk about. Disney Plus came out this week, earlier on Tuesday. Months waiting, and we're going to give our opinions on what we've been watching in the Mandalorian.
There we go.
Easy for me to say. Damn it, George Lucas and all them trying to come up with something that's hard to say, or that's just me. Anywho, we're going to talk about the ever popular news story going around in sports right now. If you're a football fan, is the end of the game or near the end of the game.
Cleveland. F Cleveland.
Well, we know where John's opinion lies.
Oh, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna be very, very, very loud during that segment.
If you've been living under a rock, if you're not watching football, the end of the game fight, if you will. Well, not even if you will. It was a fight.
There is actually a new main event for UFC 244
or 245.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But regardless,
but yes.
Anyway, we're getting into that. We were planning on doing a live review on Full Gear, AEW Full Gear.
However,
last Saturday, but John was not feeling up to it.
Put it this way, I sounded exactly like Johnny Laurinaitis. So I was like, yeah, I think we should postpone because I can't talk.
We thought we were going to do it the next day. I think it was on Veterans Sunday.
Like Sunday, I was actually feeling worse.
Yeah. So
and we tried Monday, and then I
think we just
we're
Monday.
Yeah,
Anywho, we're going to do it now.
Yeah.
Then this week's NXT AEW Dynamite thoughts. And then we got a surprise return, not in the ring, but on WWE Backstage of CM Punk. And we're going to give our thoughts on that. And then our news segment of the podcast, the funny story of the week. In this case, funny stories. We have two. But let's get into Disney Plus. John, you got the bundle, right?
I did, and I was kind of confused by the whole thing, and like you and I we're going back and forth with it, but I do have I had ESPN Plus before the Disney bundle rolled out, so I did get a little bit of a discount.
Yeah, which I already had Hulu before, so I got a couple dollars off the bundle, which I think is good because you already bought. I already paid for Hulu for the month.
Yeah, like I got like $10 off, which I was like, okay.
Well, because you already pre-ordered Disney Plus, right?
I did, yeah.
So I guess that took into consideration.
Yeah.
I get to see if that continues.
Yeah, like
it was hard for me to
understand.
Yeah, but I literally signed up for the bundle right before I went to work. I even downloaded the apps on my TV, the watch, and make sure everything worked. A little bit, later than usual to work.
Yeah. And another thing I really like about this too, we can have the streaming services on like a multiple devices, which is awesome because I show my parents this and they are completely foreign to like streaming services. My dad just he did not understand it at all. He was like well like how much am I paying for this? And I was like, Dad, it's on my account.
Yeah.
You are not paying a single dime for this.
Yeah, my parents had the same thing.
Yeah,
my dad did too.
So I was, and they were just stunned by just how much content is on there.
I liked. I never had ESPN Plus. And my dad liked it because he wanted to watch the replay of the Pitt Robert Morris game. It was on there on ESPN Plus, and he could watch it. He watched the replay. It was like after this a Penguin game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I had it on the TV in the back, and he watched it. It was great.
And they have so many. They have so many 30 for 30s on there. They are really, really well done.
I never saw the OJ Made in America documentary. I've seen there was like 2 big ones that came out. Was it last year or whatever? And I didn't get to see the ESPN one. I saw the other one, but now I'm like watching. I'm probably gonna finish it. I'm finished part 3. It's very good, and I'm glad I got to get to watch that.
And like also too, it has every single UFC fight on there. I believe except for the most recent pay-per-views, but it's a giant library for that.
Yeah, for $12.99 a month for all those 3 things.
I'm like on $13.99, but yeah,
I thought it was $12.99.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, okay, well, regardless,
I'm positive. I think
it's a great deal.
We can fight over $1 all day. But yeah, it's a great deal if you want to watch everything on there. So I'm watching stuff on ESPN, obviously Disney Plus, Hulu. I kind of use it to catch up on Bob's Burgers and Family Guy.
The only thing I hate about Hulu is are the freaking ads. Like, they annoy the hell out of me.
I'm used to it. I mean it's a price you pay for that.
It's the only thing.
I'll live with the ads. I mean, we watch TV for how long?
Right.
That's nitpicking at this point, like in the grand scheme, in my opinion.
And two, did you also see that supposedly on day 1 they had over 10 million subscribers?
I saw it with holy crap. No wonder why the servers, everything was going down.
Yeah, I told my parents this. I was like, they had over 10 million subscribers on day 1. Like, I mean, like, it's which didn't really surprise me, just because it was such a big hyped up thing. Not to mention there's just so much content on there, like from like Star Wars to anything Marvel. I mean, hell, they have the original X-Men and Spider-Man series from the 90s, man. Like, it just
there's so much crap.
There's just so much stuff, and two, you also add with ESPN2. Like, I bet you a lot of people got that bundle there. So like, I mean, you can only imagine for ESPN right now, they have to be really happy too, because I think the last thing I read was that they had at least 3 million subscribers on ESPN Plus, or like 5 million. Matt, if you could try and find that up for sure. But I mean, I haven't really completely dove into it. I have just watched episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, which are amazing, by the way. These like feel like small films right now, which I mean, like, and supposedly there's only going to be, I believe, 8 episodes. So
I think it runs through December. Each Friday, I think it comes out.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's not too much there.
According here, I googled here. As of August 2019, the service had over 2.4 paying subscribers.
Okay.
And it launched April 12th, 2018. So 2.4 as of August 2019, little over a year. You're gonna assume that goes up.
I would be shocked if they are not at least like 5 million.
I think they're gonna include the bundle numbers, obviously, to make it look.
It'd be stupid not to.
Yeah. But before we get in anything, I think else we've watched, let's get into the Mandalorian. I think we're just going to talk about episode 1 because I've only watched episode 1. I plan on, as of this is Friday, watching the second one sometime tonight because I can't wait. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would probably fast forward to some time because we're probably going to have some spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, especially the ending of the first episode, I would fast forward, and I have to remember to like say what time to fast forward to. I want to write that down so I don't forget and screw you guys over. But the first episode, just the presentation, it just looks cool, looks good presentation. And then my TV and I have is a 4K TV, and this is streaming in 4K. Unlike we don't have to pay extra for it. Unlike Netflix, you have to pay extra to get 4K. It looks incredible. In my opinion, it looks kind of like, since it's almost closer to the old, the original trilogy in terms of like style. It just brings you back to that time. It just looks that original trilogy style and updated 4K. Everything just looks amazing. I think everything about this is visually is just great.
It's very impressive. I downloaded the apps on Apple TV, which they look amazing on Apple TV. Can't really say enough. Just with, as you said, with the presentation, they feel like small films, like you know how TV shows feel like TV shows, and all, like this just does not feel like a TV show at all. And that cliffhanger was really interesting. I even thought I was like, oh hey, it's like freaking Yoda, and then
you realize
I was like, and then I was talking to my friend Eric. He was like, you do realize that is not actually him. I was like,
yeah, I knew it was. No, yeah, because this takes place after episode 6 and before 7.
Yeah, it's like 5 years.
Something like that, yeah.
After 6, I'm pretty sure.
For some reason, I thought when they had the baby carriage, because everybody was talking about the spoilers somehow affecting this film, episode 9, and I'm thinking maybe this is like Baby Ray or something like that, because it would kind of makes it makes sense. I don't know exactly the timeline, but then they go up and it was like Baby Yoda. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, because supposedly Yoda was the absolute last of his kind.
Yeah,
but then we find out, there's another, and that was why why that one dude wanted
so much money for that.
Yeah.
And it makes sense if you're the bad guys and you have this creature that what Yoda had the force and was like the main big guy. You don't want that to come back. You want to kill the Jedi, so it makes sense. So you've seen the second one, so I don't know if they probably went forward with more information or
there was like some, but like not too much.
Right. I like, because at least in the first episode, I like it's and you've probably you've seen the second one, so you probably agree that it's a nice slow build. They don't shoot everything out at once.
And two, they are only a little over 30 minutes long, which I
think it's great.
Yeah, like I'm honestly a little bit burned out on some of these shows being like
And out like 40 some, 50 some minutes.
like so this was kind
It's
of refreshing here.
It feels long without being too long.
Right, exactly.
It's quick, and then if you come in late, it's easy to binge watch.
It's a very easy binge.
Once after I watched the first episode, after I got home from work on Tuesday, I was like, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah,
with that hook.
Yeah, and to like, can you only imagine in like say a year or so from now when all of those Marvel series are going to be coming out? Like, it's just, I mean, like Disney just struck another gold mine. Like they are going to be far and away number one in streaming. I mean, if they aren't already, they're going to completely
and in fact of Marvel, they're going to be just kicking DC's ass in terms of just storylines and just getting the lore out there and just having so
getting
much
content out
getting
there.
content, telling good stories.
Like and they have a clear direction and a clear plan. DC never had any clue what they were doing. Like I really like Titans, and I really like Young Justice, but like they don't have any like new shows. Yes, it's cool to watch back some of their older animated shows, but like there is nothing to look forward to. Whereas with the Disney Plus app and like Marvel, like you can name like 5, 6, 7, 8 things that are going to be coming out in the next few years here.
At their conventions, like D23, whatever, they give you a timeline. Okay, this is everything that's happened. This is coming out. Boom, 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 boom. And then you got that. You got movies. You got Disney Plus things.
Like Star Wars too.
You got Star Wars things, and I'm gonna appreciate the break from the trilogies and in these little side stories. I'm not like this. I don't think you are either. But like this hardcore Star Wars fan, and like
I'm not. No.
That like one little thing that goes wrong in the movies, it's like you ruined the story. Nah, I didn't.
I will say
just
this.
give me a good movie, a decent storyline that makes sense.
I'll say this: Star Wars fans are really similar to professional wrestling fans. They're like carbon copies of each other because if even the one slight thing is not how they want it to be, they'll just throw it all into a freaking bunch with the whole entire show.
Yeah. So like, and these Star Wars things, like the Obi-Wan and Kenobi thing, this Mandalorian.
Yep.
Even if we go back to Rogue One or Han Solo, just to fill in these gaps, and then they might be good or bad movies, whatever. But give me a good story, and I've liked all of them. I liked Rogue One. I watched it again at earlier this summer, or whatever, and I think that movie holds up. I enjoyed Han or Solo, whatever crap it was. I enjoyed it. Maybe it wasn't the best one, but like, I'm not gonna leave that theater like, oh, that was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. It fills in the story. They get the lore in, fills in the gaps. I don't know. It's just there's just so much content, and it's so much stuff to look forward to. I wish it was all out now, but you have to save some stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you can't just go blah here and then have nothing left in like a year.
You cannot blow your you know what.
Real quick in Mandalorian, how did you like the main character, how he was portrayed so far through episode 1?
I'm very intrigued, and I've talked to my friend Eric, who is a big Star Wars fan, just to get some more information about the guy. Like there's a really big a mystery on who he actually is. Is he a clone from the Clone Wars? Like, is he like, there's been some like rumors of him possibly being say like Boba Fett's son on top of that. Like, it's just like there's like, I'm very intrigued to see who this guy actually is, and also why he turned into who he eventually became.
They had that scene of flashbacks with something, I guess, with his parents, and then they abandoned him because something was happening. So they're going to address that. So that's interesting. They build him up in a way that was like some mystery, and you're like, okay, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
I like the I forget the name of the robot, but the robot that was shooting at the fights. He was good, hilarious. That he wanted to keep self-destructing.
Like,
I was like,
he's like, no,
stop it.
Oh, and who was the one guy who kept on saying, "I have spoken."
I have spoken. Oh God. Oh jeez. Peak. Oh hell. Oh. Let me get away from the microphone. I have spoken.
I have spoken. Which that was hilarious. I was kind of marking out every time that he said that.
2 or 3 times he said. I was like, that's the new line. I'm so far no complaints again on that.
No.
Again, it's only one episode, so I'm going to be very interested to see how they build, if it continues, how many seasons up, if it builds into explanation of how the First Order comes to be. Because right now, again, we're in that period between the Empire falling and again the First Order and all that fun stuff.
Well, and two, I'm hoping that we'll get some more answers on like everything involving with Rey, like just to get like more actual backstory in who she actually is, since that's still a really big mystery from the current trilogy.
I felt like hopefully more of those answers get answered in the movie coming up. Moving on to other things. I don't know if you watched any other thing on Disney Plus yet.
No, those have been the only 2 things that I have watched to this point. I mean, I've kind of like scanned through, just like kind of seeing what's out there right now.
I've watched the new show with Jeff Goldblum on the National Geographic portion, where he goes and talks about just other random stuff. And this episode he talks about sneakers, like shoes, and how big the shoe industry is. It was very interesting, and he presented himself in the only way Jeff Goldblum can, and his quirky, like awkward self with these interviews. I would recommend watching it. It's kind of interesting if you're a fan of Jeff Goldblum. It was pretty good, in my opinion. A lot of stuff about shoes inside of stuff about sneakers and all that stuff that I didn't really know, and how ridiculous shoe costs are.
Oh yeah, well
they have a convention of shoes in Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
and there's just people spending thousands of dollars for these shoes. I'm just like, it's a shoe. But there's one collector, slightly spoil here, talk about that people used to collect trading baseball cards, and that's just pieces of paper with pictures on it, and they go for a crap ton of money. So he has a point there, but it's just like weird. And then he goes in the like lab of Adidas, how they come up with testing for shoes and stuff. It's pretty interesting how they do all that stuff for something that covers your feet. I'm interested to see what else he does on that show. And another thing I watched, I went old school. I wanted to watch an old movie, and I watched 101 Dalmatians. brought me back to a little kid. It was so good. It's just as good as I remember it. And I had my dog watching it, and all the dogs barking, and he's just watching and jumping up and looking at the TV. It was pretty funny, but 101 Dalmatians looked good. Brought back some memories as a little kid, so it's pretty sweet. I can see what else I want to watch. I want to watch other stuff eventually. There's so much stuff. In movies I haven't seen in a while, or I haven't watched at all. And they had Flubber on there. Underrated movie with Robin Williams. Flubber. Loved it. I gotta watch it again. It's probably terrible now when I'm not 6. But I think that's an underrated movie. Anywho, anything else you want to add on Disney Plus?
No, I think that just about covers it there, Matt.
Let's move on to the end of the game. Steelers-Browns fight scrummish. We had let's explain what happened at the end. Was it Myles Garrett? Is that the name of the person?
Yep.
Made a tackle on Mason Rudolph, quarterback of the Steelers. It looked like Mason was kind of going for the helmet, and there was a skirmish. And then Garrett knocked off the helmet of Rudolph, and then had it in his hand. And as there a skirmish was ensuing, got the helmet and just basically tomahawked the helmet right onto Rudolph's head, which I don't know how he's not dead or concussed.
Because if he would have hit him, if he would have hit him with the other side of the helmet, he definitely would have.
I have a helmet right here that's autographed by Jerome Bettis. It's in a case, and pretty much the same helmet. There might be a difference, but still, that's not freaking cardboard. That's freaking hard plastic or whatever. You get full force of somebody just welling at you. That's a concussion.
Yeah. So,
and speaking of concussions, we got 2 Steelers that are at concussions: Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson, who was bleeding out of his ear, which was that's scary. But that's another debate for another thing. And after the fight, as Pouncey came in, Marquise Pouncey, the center for the Steelers, came in and just went full craziness, punching him.
Completely warranted
and I don't blame him. And he was kicking him. And he got suspended without pay for 3 games, which people like Steeler fans are like, what the crap? But
I mean,
you came in and you're punching the guy and you're kicking him. That's fair. I'm not mad at that. No. I'm not mad that you went after the guy, and I'm not mad that he got suspended, which I would assume he did.
The only thing that didn't make any sense, though, why did both of the teams get fined, though? How were they supposed to prevent any of this from their perspective? That's the only thing that did not make sense.
Myles Garrett got suspended indefinitely by the league coming out today
for at least this season. So
in playoffs, if they make
it, and playoffs if they were to somehow get in. But that I will give the NFL credit here. They did the exact right thing here. They came down hard, which they needed to. This looked really, really bad, and of course there are some freaking clowns in the national media, Max Kellerman and like James Jones. They were saying, who started that? Who started that? Excuse me, I don't give a goddamn who started this whole freaking thing. The man tried to essentially kill the guy. Do you not see the optics of hitting a defenseless player, a quarterback no less, with a helmet, without his helmet on? If Myles Garrett would have hit Mason on the other side of that helmet, Who knows? He could possibly be in a coma, or if not worse, dead. Like this is a very serious situation. I don't know how anyone can defend this. I don't care who you are. It's just incredibly bad looking for the whole entire league.
If the helmet thing didn't happen, okay, you can say Mason started. Okay, like I'm not gonna be delirious and say that whole thing didn't. Take the helmet out.
Let's say okay, he definitely started it. Okay,
he started, but he didn't like try to commit murder.
Right. Exactly. What does that have to do with the guy throwing a helmet on top of another guy who is defenseless? By the way,
if Garrett takes the helmet off, okay, that's one thing. And then if he drops it and then starts going after him, like throwing punches, okay, bad fight, but like it works. It's okay. You suspend the guys, you fine them, boom, done, over with.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're moving on from it. We talk about it and it's done. But you get a weapon, essentially. It is a weapon. Act like a weapon.
Absolutely is.
And then how, again, we've been saying, if he's lucky to only get, for Mason, I don't know how he didn't fall down, because it's a freaking helmet. And like, you don't do that. That's way too much.
And I would have been very angry if he did not get at least this full season. Like there were some people who saying, oh, like he should be getting 2 or 4 games tops. Exactly. What type of freaking message does that send to everyone else? You want to come down hard to prevent any thought of even thinking about doing anything even remotely close to this, because now I guarantee you he will be gone for this whole season. I would not be surprised too if they even tack on say like 3, 4, or even 5 more games,
like half the season or whatever.
Like, it's completely warranted, and I guarantee you, not a single person is going to currently in the NFL are going to say no, that was egregious. Like, you just, I don't care who was at like fault here. You cannot just, especially too when the whole league is trying to make the NFL game safe as possible,
with concussions and everything,
and with that huge concussion lawsuit that the NFL is paying for every single day, like, that's going to be motivation in itself. That's it. And
you already had 2 Steelers that suffered concussions in this game from head-to-head hits, which I don't know that Juju hit, how they didn't flag that hit, but flag the.
I tell you though, what else?
To be fair, in real time, you could have missed it, but if you're looking right at it, but still,
I tell you though, what it also really said about this game, Freddie Kitchens has zero control of this team right now. Like, there's just no self-control. There is no discipline because people who are saying, like some people on ESPN with Myles Garrett saying, he has zero history of being a violent person.
I don't care.
Funny you should say that, because as Twitter has shown me here, Myles Garrett against the Titans punched Delaney Walker after a play ended. Week 2 ended Trevor Siemian's season on a like late hit, and then here in week 11 against Mason Rudolph. So clearly there is a track record here. He has been fined multiple times. So clearly there is a trend here, and I'm hoping that this league is going to have more zero tolerance. You need to make the game cleaner. There is no room for any of this in any sport, hockey, basketball, football, baseball, whatever. Just like, and because now instead of this game being talked solely on sports shows, it's now being talked on say like CNN, Fox News, like real news.
There was Fox News on the show The Five, in the one segment they were talking about this game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a good look for the NFL.
No.
At least they,
which is why they were going to come down hard. Like, and that's exactly what they did. And I can applaud them, and major respect to Marquise Pouncey, because like he did what anyone else would do in that situation when the opposing player is throwing a freaking object at
potentially damaging your quarterback.
Exactly. Like, he's completely warranted, and he even said after that game, I'm fully prepared to sit out some games here. Like, you know, he didn't even care. It's just like, that's, you know, he was obligated to have to do that there.
Mm-hmm. You defended, and you got again 3 game suspension without pay, which I think at least was a good thing. Maybe even I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to be 4, but
yeah,
it wasn't like 1 or 2 games. I think
No.
2 games was would be too little.
I think they wanted him at least out for the next Cleveland game, which is in like 2 weeks too,
which would be interesting.
Yeah.
All eyes would be on that game.
Yeah.
So yeah. Interesting to see, to say the least. But let's switch over to what we wanted to do last Saturday, and it's Full Gear review, and give us our thoughts. What do you think? And I'm going to pull out the results so we have something to go off of. What did you think, before we go individually, what did you think of the show as a whole?
Overall, I thought it was honestly a pretty average show. Up until the last 2 matches, I wasn't really feeling this show. I felt that for one, the Baltimore crowd was just awful throughout that whole entire night, except for Jericho versus Cody, and
which to me was the match of the night.
Yeah, and like Moxley versus Kenny. I mean, personally, I loved him. Moxley versus Kenny. It was my match of the night, but that has been a very pulverizing topic.
Did you listen to Jim Cornette talk about that?
No, but
there's a YouTube clip.
I've heard.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
26 minutes of it. I love it.
It just like it's really hard for me to take him corny seriously.
I love
just
him.
because like he said, like, oh, this somehow set wrestling back, but yet we have arguably the worst storyline going in wrestling right now with like Lana, Rusev, and that whole freaking nonsense. So like I just don't buy that. Like I just feel like
we don't talk about it.
Yeah, like honestly, like have any of you seen Undertaker versus a Mankind, Hell in a Cell 1998? I would make the argument that was even more violent because you know, how many times did Foley fall off of that?
I think there's a well, I'll get in. We'll get into that.
But yeah,
I think there's a slight a difference. Anyhow,
yeah.
But let's go through. We could spend the whole rest of the show on that. Real quick, let's go with the buy-in. We got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus B. Priestley.
Yeah, I just did not care about this match. Like
It, yeah,
and supposedly Brett was a pretty sick during this, and that was supposedly one of the reasons why they had her and be Priestley on the pre-show because like she wanted in and like out as soon as like she could, just so that she could get out of there and get some meds and
I didn't hate it. I think it was okay. I mean, at least they had a video package about their history to make me
more story than the freaking women's title match. I get to that much.
Absolutely, it had me interested a little bit. It was all right. Like nothing special. Britt Baker got the win as she should have. Yeah. And then after the match, we got Awesome Kong making her
and which
return.
Brandy
Brandy with her and coming out, and Kong pretty much destroyed Priestley, and then cut off a lock of her hair, and then has it on her waist, keeping as like a sign of women that she has destroyed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I'm happy to see Kong back, but this whole thing with a Brandy as a freaking witch is just really cringe and really weird to me, and not in a particularly good way. I'm not really buying this. Maybe some others are intrigued by it. I just could care less.
Can I say, and this is kind of random, and I especially saw it on Dynamite, that Kong's like, was it back elbow thing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like how she does it. Looks too slow.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's no force behind it. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. I'm just like,
it doesn't look real or at all.
Yeah, I was just like,
yeah, I just like it, and that is clearly the biggest problem with AEW right now. It's just their women's division is just so bad right now. Like, there's really their biggest problem is they don't have a singular person to build the whole entire division.
There's nobody. The only one that I can combine, that looked good was probably Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Kong, and maybe Nia Rose. That looks believable.
And like, honestly, and I'm not the biggest fan of her, but they definitely need to build this whole thing behind Nyla, just because like she is one of the few people who stands out in a good way. It's just
she had a showing on Dynamite finally,
and like I'm not going to buy Riho as champion, but Riho. We will get into that later.
And then the opening match of the main card was the Young Bucks versus the Proud and Powerful, which I think is the worst name. I don't like the name.
Yeah, it's very generic.
It's the Proud and Powerful.
But outside of that, though, I'm big fans of these guys. I'm just Santana and freaking Ortiz are just so entertaining, man. Like I'm so happy that they have these guys in the inner circle. They were booked so strong here. Like, and too, like, this was a very different style of a like match for the Bucks here. So I will say, though, the one thing that did really annoy me, though, was with like Nick, when he was clearly selling a freaking ankle injury, and yet he kept on super kicking with that same leg, forgetting to sell it at points. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to freaking sell that, then sell that. Don't freaking super kick it and then start walking around with it a little bit and not really showcase it that it's actually hurting you. So that was the thing that really bothered me here. However, however Santana and Ortiz go over strong here. So like I don't have any complaints about that. They're clearly a high priority for the company, and I cannot say enough to how unselfish that everyone in the elite is. Like they are willing to put guys over, and that I think is a clear recipe for success there. You know.
And then after the match, Sammy Guevara, whoever, comes down and they beat down on the Young Bucks, but they got Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson to come, and holy crap, was it Ricky Morton that
he did a suicide dive,
and then they was it a Canadian Destroyer?
Yep.
I was like,
that was cool. Like that was cool. And of course, this freaking crowd just like is completely silent, which was just irritating me. Like if you compared this crowd to the freaking Dynamite crowd over in like Nashville, like it just like crowds can like easily kill shows, and like this was a clear example from like Full Gear. Just like there was just too many instances throughout this whole entire night where like they just did not provide any energy, and it was showing, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, proud and powerful win, and I'm very interested to see how things are going to go with these guys. It's pretty clear, as I said, like they have some major plans for these guys going forward as a tag team.
Mm-hmm. Next match was Hangman Adam Page versus Pac.
Just like,
and with Hangman Page getting what some people say a surprise win.
Yeah, like I just the whole entire booking of this feud has just been so odd to me. Like, and they faced each other again on Dynamite, which they just end up trading wins there, which
that was 50-50.
Yeah, like or more like
it was at 66-33.
Yeah, which it was more so that. But I'm like, okay, if you were just gonna have Hangman lose, then just have Hangman lose and go down a more darker path, similar to what you were doing with Kenny right now. But now, like, okay, I just felt like that this should have been done better, but now, like, what do you do with Hangman now? And that's the problem that they're in right now.
I just felt like even though this feud was built a long time, at least to me, it just felt like there was nothing there.
Yep, that's exactly what I felt, and like that has been the problem that I've seen with like Hangman too, is like there are too many instances where like I either don't care what he's doing, or B, like there's just something about him that is just not really clicking. He's really missing something right now. I'm not sure if it's going to be a like heel run or something that would kind of bring that something extra that he definitely has, but like it's just he's not working as a babyface right now for me. I'm not sure how you feel, man, but
it's just I don't know. It's just I think it was a good match.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was just like weird. That it was like it was there, but
it was
nothing there. And speaking of nothing there, in my opinion, we go on to Shawn Spears with Janela.
Jelly Janela.
Joey Janela.
Oh my god! Like, Joey Janela sucks. Okay, like he's terrible. Like it just, I'm not going to even go into specifics with him. Like, why was this match on pay-per-view? This just felt like such a waste of time to me.
To me, Shawn Spears has nothing. They have like no storyline with him besides besides when he was fighting Cody for the title.
Yep.
To me, he was barely on TV when it started. Yep. At least maybe
And they're still continuing with this god awful feud on Dynamite, which, oh god. But
I don't get it. I don't even. The match was okay, but it was.
it went on way too long. Like I think they went. I think they went like 15 minutes. I'm like, that should have been 10, 8 tops. Like there's no reason for this match to be going for 15 minutes. Like this is how you definitely lose a crowd and would definitely make people turn away from you. Just like hide your weaknesses and accentuate the positives of your show, including Joey Janela and anything on your show. It's going to look not great, just like bad. Unlike Sean Spears wins, that's all that I gotta say.
And then next we have the AEW Tag Team Championship match between SCU, Private Party, and the Lucha Brothers, with SCU retaining the tag titles.
I mean,
which I hoped, because that was their first defense.
Yeah, like,
and if they lost, okay, that's.
I mean, I didn't hate this match, but again, I just wasn't really.
Yeah, it was weird. Now
invested. Like there wasn't hardly any story behind this at all. It was kind of thrown together at the very last second. I just like it just, and that was like the absolute biggest problem, and the crowd was pretty dead for it too. On top of that, it just,
which for some reason was surprising to me.
Yeah.
But after the match, Pentagon and Phoenix were attacking SCU, and then the lights went out and he came back on. A second Pentagon Jr. was in the ring, and was revealed to be Christopher Daniels, who was out. Storyline that the Lucha Brothers, or they attacked him outside the ring or hit him. I forget what move on the ramp, if I'm not mistaken. So he came back. So that adds the story with those two teams. So there's something there that moved on into Dynamite, which was interesting. At least there's something going on there. I'm sorry, but Private Party to me is just right now is not doing it for me.
No, I mean, it's pretty clear they're still pretty green, and really inexperienced. Like, to me, they are still a really fun tag team, but
I don't like their theme song. It doesn't get me hyped.
I'm comparing. Honestly, I'm the opposite. I have no problem with that. It's just like it's more so there's, we need something more from these guys, instead of just wrestling, and like and they do at least have the defined characters to them, so I can appreciate that. But like there's definitely like a big inexperience factor to
I just, and you can't help but compare them to Street Profits. But I like their theme song. I'm bumping to. I bought it. I downloaded it because I just like it. It just gets you going. I feel like they have more charisma.
Oh yeah. Well, Montez Ford alone
carries that charisma.
Like honestly, probably the only other guy who probably, I mean, like outside of like Jericho and Kenny and Cody and like and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I mean, like, just like he's going to like stand out from all of those guys there. But I do think that those two guys definitely have a ton of untapped potential. To just, they are still really, really young, and like I think all of us need to keep that in mind with these guys.
But it's just for Street Private Party, it's just I don't know, get better. But speaking of getting better, we get an AEW Women's Championship match between Riho and Emi Sakura, or the Japanese what's his face,
Who cares? This was a freaking piss break match. Okay,
I don't like Amy. I'm sorry.
Just no disrespect at all to these ladies, but I just didn't care. There was no story behind this.
Did I miss how Sakura got their title match?
I mean, like it was basically just like thrown together. It's hard to get invested in something with who you have like zero clue who any of these women are, with like zero story behind them, and 3, zero reason to care whatsoever. Like, just AEW needs to do a much better job in featuring these ladies. Interviews, video packages, storylines. Like, we need all of those things to get invested into this, and to this point, we have not gotten there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Riho retained, as no surprise to anybody. But if somebody else fights her, I still makes no sense how she beat.
Awesome Kong should seriously beat her in like 3 minutes tops. Like,
not even.
And probably I would be perfectly fine if that was a complete squash. Like, I cannot
look at her.
Exactly. I cannot buy her as champion. I cannot buy her beating anyone. I'm sorry. When you were 98 pounds, like, I don't care, how over she is, whatever. It's really hard to buy that. It's like anything involving a Marco stunt. Like, just, it's really hard to suspend.
On Dynamite, we'll talk about that. Yeah. I turn out that match and I watched NXT because I can't. He's a runt. I can't do it.
Yeah.
You could say, well, what about Undertaker and he's dead? But at least that's based on the character. It makes sense. It's more entertaining than
he has way more credibility too. Let's be real. But
he looks like he can kick your ass in the
exactly.
ring. It's a gimmick. We have somebody as a freaking dinosaur. Mm-hmm. Which at first I'm like, what is this? But it's won me over. We'll get into that later on real quick. Yeah. But we're moving on to, you can say, one of the co-main events, which I would think the way it ended should have been the main event. And in my opinion, match of the night, that includes everything that went on afterwards too, was Cody versus Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. In my opinion, and I don't think you can disagree, the 2 top stars in this company overall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, easily.
This has the best story,
mm-hmm.
just the best build, and just the best match on this card.
La Champion.
Cody, right. Chris Jericho versus Cody. Good story. The accidental suicide dive onto the elevated ramp, if you will, that gashed Cody way open.
Freaking Cody's mom slapping Jericho, which was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, and hitting him, getting that quick knock in. This was the story and everything on this match was good. And at the end, when Chris Jericho had Cody in the lion tamer, Cody's bleeding and in the middle of the ring, MJF was on the side and he had the towel and he threw it in, which the ref saw it and called for the bell. Chris Jericho retains, and at that point in time, before what happened next, I think you looked at me and were like, oh no, like that ending wise, it was controversial. But what saved it and what turned my opinion is when MJF was in the ring with Cody, pleading his case, almost crying in tears because he betrayed his best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason I thought Cody was going to attack him, but no. I don't know why I thought that, but no. MJF.
That would have been like, I would have been really angry if they would have done that there. But
Because what I was thinking in a twist, out of frustration, he went after.
I will say this, though.
But I'm sorry, but then MJF low blows Cody, and the heat pours on.
I will say this, at the moment, I thought it was way too soon because I was under the impression that, like, hey, MJF really hasn't been on TV too much. There was like zero tension between him and Cody at all. But what happened on Dynamite and that perfect plant, they were throwing beer right at MJF, and MJF just completely just no selling it,
and with that smile,
with that
smirk,
was just beautifully done. So like that right there, you just knew, like, okay, it is about to get real now. So so La Champion retains his title, but on to what I feel was the match of the night, and I disagree with my friend here. There was no other match that could have gone on last, because and only because it was a like a non-sanctioned lights out match.
Well,
like
that's
that
by default.
Yeah.
It was on last, but I don't feel like it shouldn't.
With all of the chaos that went on in that thing, I mean, like, even for Cody versus Jericho, I don't think that you could go off off the air.
I think just that visual with MGF and then the beer thing, I think would have been a perfect ending and segue to Dynamite.
I think if it was anything else, I would 100% agree with you, but here, not so much.
I think, so I might have some Jim Cornette influence in me on this. I think you agree, if I remember correctly, that I feel like it went on a bit too long for what they were doing.
That I can agree with. Like this, and especially towards, and it was getting a little bit ridiculous for me.
Yeah, and one thing that after listening to Jim Cornette that got brought up that I didn't think of it at the time because I'm just getting gruesome is that when they had the barbed wire bat and the broom, and this is not just for this match, but in general in wrestling, you bring up the point. You had the barbed wire bat, and the first thing you do with it is you have a weapon is a jab to the stomach that with the barbed wire bat, and you just don't go for it like right away. Like if you really think logically, and again, this is not just this match. WWE does it with weapons and all that stuff too. It doesn't make sense, but that was real barbed wire because you can tell it cut them open. It had stuff on the back and whatnot. But then you go later in the match with the trampoline thing out of barbed wire, what have you, and they get power bombed or suplexed both of them into it. Yet they didn't get really cut up. That was fake. They said there was more blood in the beginning of the match than at the end after they did everything. Which, if you sit back and look at it, that doesn't seem legit. I mean, at the end of that match, it should be just Crimson Mask for all the stuff they did. And then at least to me, when you do all that stuff, what they did, I think if it goes that long, I think the match was 40 some minutes.
I'm looking 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
To me, I would expect you should be dead from all that stuff.
Well, if you looked on Dynamite, Kenny was essentially dead. Yeah.
I mean, but during the match, they're still going for 40 minutes after they're beating themselves with.
Well, okay. Put it this way: with Moxley, that is his whole thing though. He's like been built as a guy who can go through these wars and still he'll be fine. Now for Kenny on the other hand, I completely agree with you. It's just like he should not be be like so healthy during the match, whereas with Moxley, who has been in these things so many times, where I can buy that.
I'm not saying Moxley is not been through it. I just feel like, and again, I think this is a general statement for other matches, not just this one. And I think this is one of the logical problems with these type of matches overall in wrestling, is that sometimes it feels like people recover too quickly, or they get what I don't know, what have you. Let's take the suplex into that barbed wire thing, and they get up and they're almost still going or whatever. It just for somebody who's like trying to watch it logically, and especially when the match goes long like this, it's like, well,
they really should have ended it there, or even when Kenny or even when Kenny V triggered Moxley into the
cardboard light thing.
Yeah, even that, you're like, okay, but
I think if you do too much stuff that's just like, holy crap, I think some of the stuff, the big thing I think loses its punch, because you're just doing crazy crap. What are you gonna then? I'm saying if you do all these big things, to me you're gonna have something big at the end to finally put somebody down, right?
Which is what they did when
with the exposed board.
Yeah, when Kenny did like a 450 right onto the exposed cardboard, which was way more violent than anything. I
hope it's not cardboard.
With Gargano and Ciampa did at a takeover.
But I just feel like all the barbed wire stuff and going through that stuff, to me, almost seems more dangerous than landing on the wood.
I mean, it just depends.
Oh, that's you. Like, jingling the keys. I was like, I don't know if it sounded like my dog. I don't like. That's just me. I'm not saying I was not entertained by the match. We were watching it, and I was, doing the grimacing faces.
You turned away a few times there.
Yeah, I'm not saying I did not enjoy it, but when you doubt, at least to me, when I take a step back and do the logical stuff, and I can criticize and pick it apart. Again, you thought I was match of the night. God bless you. But I appreciated the Cody and Jericho match more, because just the whole story, just everything involved, to me was excellent, more so than this match. But that's just my opinion. You have your opinion, and there you go.
I'm right. You're wrong. Ha ha ha.
And that's your opinion.
And my opinion is I'm right, and it's fact.
Where are you, a politician?
No, I hate politics.
Okay, I don't know where we're going with this, but you're wrong. Agree to disagree. That was by his mouth. That wasn't a fart, actually. Anywho, let's get into real quick some points to Dynamite and then NXT real quick, which I thought were both good shows. I watched them simultaneously because I had the time.
Wednesdays are my sanctuary. I tell you,
Wednesdays are fun. Watching both at the same time.
They're so much fun.
Because I hate going back and watching later at that night. It's just fun to watch.
When you watch wrestling on like Mondays and Fridays, you are just really sad and depressed and asking yourself, why am I wasting my time? And then come like Wednesday nights, we get consistently every single week, whether it's great segments, great matches, just logical storytelling. Some of the best storytelling is done on Wednesday nights. and this week was no different. Like, I tell you, Matt, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. If none of you thought that somehow that he wasn't a star, how can you say this now? He went toe to toe with Chris Jericho on the microphone. Like this, he got so much heat.
One of my favorite promos in a long time.
And Dave and Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, they were comparing him to a very young Roddy Piper, which honestly, if you really think about it,
I
just
really argue that.
from a talking standpoint, they're very similar because MJF just lives that character 24/7. He does not step off of the gas. Like, just he will go to the umpteenth degree to just get as much heat as possible. He doesn't care. He doesn't care to be a cool bad guy. He's going to say whatever he can to get the reaction that he wants to get. And this segment with him and Jericho was just absolute gold. The whole thing with like I'm moving to Carrera, and when he called the inner circle circle jerk, that had me dying.
It was just an entertaining promo, all around. But going through some stuff real quick. I think the opening match we had Jon Moxley defeat Michael Nakasara.
Thankfully, that was quick and painless because
I don't know who the hell that was.
He sucks. That's all that you need.
And then he wanted to scorch the earth after the match. He got a promo, scorch the earth of AEW, and throw out a challenge to anyone in the locker room, which was answered a little bit later.
And again, and I will say this consistently about the show, this crowd was awesome from start to finish. Like, just they were eating up everything that was going on the show. But anyways,
and then we had the match that I tuned out for was the Dark Order against Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
With freaking Marco Strunt.
Yeah.
Nope.
I didn't care about this either. Just
Dark Order won,
but the best thing that happened though,
not the real weird promo at the end.
No, we got our dinosaur back, baby. Lucha freaking Saurus, the biggest rising star in AEW.
I can't believe that sentence has been uttered in this 2019.
He's a dinosaur, Matt. Respect the dinosaur.
I respect him, but it's just stepping out of my body here. It's just hilarious. So that brings some life into that segment. Then we had Darby Allin. Allen. I want to say Allin. I see All In, and I want to say it. Defeat Peter Avalon. Who the hell is that?
The very boring librarian.
Oh, that's right. The librarian. God, what? That was a random pairing with him and Sean Spears.
Yeah.
But
why are we continuing with Joey Janela?
Yeah, it comes out.
Spears?
Chases Spears off. Darby Allin. Allen. Jesus Christ.
Darby
Allen. I know. I keep saying All In, and it's messing with my head. Defeats him via pinfall and accepts Jon Moxley's challenge.
That's gonna be chaos.
Right.
I can tell you right now that's gonna be chaos.
And then we had Nia Rose defeat Danny Jordan with a little squash match. Good thing to get Nia Rose back into the limelight here on TV. Reintroduce people. It is what it was. Yep. Squash match. And then Ali cuts a ringside promo with Tony Schiavone. And then Awesome Khan and Randy Rhodes come out, destroy out Ali, and Awesome Khan cuts a lock of her hair off too. And so that's two people. And then, slowly building to that. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
It's interesting. It to me, it's intriguing enough that I care. I'm not like out of it, but I'm like I just want to see what it goes.
I'm not really feeling it to this point.
So we had the Chris Jericho MGF promo, which again was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, Google it, baby. Google it.
When you were seeing this, what was your initial reaction?
That promo?
Yeah.
This is fun. This is good. I was watching that besides NXT. I turned the volume up.
Like
I when Jericho came out, I was like, I gotta pay attention. Jericho and Cody are like the two. When Jericho comes out, I am watching.
Yep.
I care because it's entertaining. He's so good. Him and Cody and to a degree, not to a higher degree, MGF are like the three big people on that company. That when they're on my screen, I am watching. I am invested.
And for me too, with
everybody else is
like
a
a Moxley,
in a way Moxley too.
When he's cutting a promo like the absolute one thing that is perfectly clear though, AEW has really good talkers. They got guys.
I think they're top heavy with those four,
which is exactly what you want because now I feel they have an absolute strength in talking more people into buildings, which I think is going to prove to be a really big asset as this company gets older and older here. But there's also some more fun stuff. Yeah.
Before we get to what I know you're getting to, Pac defeated Adam Hangman Page via submission.
Actually, Matt, you skipped over Cody. Getting beat down.
Oh, I did. I totally misreading it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cody after the promo after MGF and Jericho laugh, blaming Cody. Cody comes in, and then somebody made the debut. Go ahead and talk about that, John, because you know more.
Wardlow or Justin LeBar's guy.
I totally forgot about this guy.
Basically, MJF
has the muscle.
Has some muscle now, which I think is a perfect way to bring this guy.
If he plays that cowardly like heel, then he doesn't do anything and makes him do it and talks. I think it's beautiful.
It's a perfect way. Like AEW has just done such a fabulous job with guys with guys like Hager, with the Inner Circle, and now with Wardlow, and to the main thing that I took away.
I want to call him Wardlord.
Yeah,
like I see that. I see Wardlord.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
either way, but the one thing that I took away though, MGF does not need to be in the Inner Circle. He can do fine on his own.
I think there was just that promo.
Yeah, which I'm hoping that was the case. Like, just a star was born. Like MGF is a future world champion for this company. Like he just prints money for this company. Like, just the freaking dude is 23. Matt, he's 23 years old, and he's doing this like he's been in the freaking business for like 10 or 15 years. Like, just how advanced that he is as a talker and as a character is just going to do wonders for him. And to like, if you are TNT, you just have got to say, man, like, we got some stars here. So, but yes, a very good segment, a very good star making segment, and yeah.
And then, like I said, Pac defeated Hangman Page. Anything on that?
No,
we kind of said it earlier.
Kind of.
And then we had a backstage segment. They had the Young Bucks fighting Santana and Ortiz.
And the most funny and the most
fighting.
most hilarious thing about this show.
One at a point, I forget who threw who into the bathroom door, and the bathroom door there, and they cut. It's Orange Cassidy just standing with his hands in his pockets, and everybody.
And freaking Santana's
just looking at the camera around like, what is happening?
Just slowly closes the door.
And I popped. It was funny. I appreciate it.
And like someone asked him, and someone asked like Santana about that on Twitter. He was like, yeah, it really smelled, so I just closed it slowly.
And then eventually they fight. They get out on the stage. Santana and Ortiz, they beat, I believe it was Nick Jackson's leg or knee with the sock.
They beat the crap out of the box.
With baseballs, and then they put I believe still Nick through the stage. I think it was Nick.
No, it was actually Matt. Who got driven through the stage, and they just really paid up Nick's leg and stuff. And then this eventually sets up to where Private Party eventually comes out, and this is ultimately setting up to a like match between Private Party versus LAX next week.
Yeah. Good segment. Very again, not wrestling, something else to tell stories.
Yep.
And it was well done. Had some comedy in there. It was good. And then in the main event, we had AEW Tag Team Championship SCU against Jericho and Sammy Guevara. And SCU wins pinfall, which was Scorpio Sky pinning Jericho with a small package.
Yeah, they were really short on time, and you could tell they were kind of rushing to get this thing done. I'm hoping at some point that on TNT that AEW can do a little bit of an
because NXT got a long overrun.
Exactly. Like, I'm hoping within a year or so once they develop their relationship, because there is no reason why they cannot let the overrun happen. So, but anyways, I do feel like that this is probably setting up to a title match with Scorpio Sky versus Jericho.
Something, yeah.
Which isn't a terrible idea, just because there is no clear number one contender right now for Jericho, because I thought that they might do Jericho versus Moxley, but it looks like that is not quite yet happening. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't crazy about your world champion being pinned by a tag team wrestler, but you know, I think
I didn't like Jericho's tire at the end. It just looked
weird.
Like he was hitting the ring post with the chair, but it was like in slow motion.
Right.
Like he wasn't really mad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, if that was on purpose, I just didn't like that. It seemed fake, to be quite honest. It didn't seem like he was really mad that he lost. Yeah, but a solid episode of Dynamite, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we will get into what the ratings were too for
real quick
both of these shows.
But going into NXT, they started the come on, CBS. They had this match as NXT Championship, which is not. NXT Cruiserweight Championship kicked off the show. Lio Rush, the champion, against Angel Garza. This match, I don't know if you saw this. This match, just they beat the crap out of each other. So good.
I'm so happy that they have the cruiserweights exclusively with NXT finally. Just this has been a long time coming, and now we'll finally have the cruiserweights treated how they should have been treated from the very start as a big freaking deal. And I'm hoping at some point that we eventually get a takeover with these guys on a takeover card. Like, just Leo Rush in this role is going to be awesome. Like not being a like freaking awkward mouthpiece for
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley. Again, this match was good. In the beginning of the match, Angel Garza jumped the crowd, and again that rip pants gimmick. And Leo Rush's wife, and kids were sitting ringside. And he went up, got out of the ring, went next to them, and ripped his pants off there. Great spot. That was an awesome spot. Just hilarious. To get that heat with Leo. But again, go back if you haven't seen his match. Go back, go on the network, what have you, watch it. Excellent match, and Leo Rush retains that match. Great match. Then we had Xia Li defeat Leah for your pinfall. Short match. I really Leah really got that kick from Xia Li and busted her face open. The doctor went in with a towel. She was really bleeding. It was a short match to show off Xia Li, get that victory. Kind of same thing like over and on Dynamite. These matches don't have to be long. Just go over, put over talent. Nothing special. It is what it is. Balor came out and cut a promo in the ring, talking about since he left NXT, he's declined. Bro. And he called out, pretty much saying everybody was weak, calling out Gargano for still being out 3 weeks after being out with a Pele kick when he did. Love Balor as a heel.
I tell you, man, like him versus Riddle. Oh my God.
And like John said, he mentioned Riddle, and then Riddle came out and attacked him. That should be good. That match is now official at War Games.
Sweet baby Jesus.
So Riddle's out on that War Games match, and he's getting replaced.
I wonder if this is where that we see your guy, the Velveteen Dream.
The dream that is velvet.
Make his return. Because clearly Johnny's out. So, I mean, like, you got to think that, I mean, like, who else is there?
I would assume because he hasn't done anything yet.
Nope. I believe actually he's been off of TV since his title match against Roddy.
Yeah.
So I would think that
it makes sense.
It makes sense there. So
and with that, there was a little promo between both War Game teams for the Undisputed Era, Keith Lee, and all that, and we had a Keith Lee versus Roderick Strong match. Cause Keith Lee wanted the challenge. Adam Cole, pretty much saying,
Keith Lee is one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, you fought Daniel Bryan. You fought, and I'm paraphrasing, you fought Seth Rollins, but you haven't fought me. And it was a good match. But Roderick Strong, I love it. It's like Adam Cole is a champion. He's doing all this stuff. He deserves a night off. And then he fought, and again another good match. Riddle and Ciampa came out to even the odds because Undisputed Era, came to the ring. I think you had came to the ring after the pinfall. Riddle, like I said, Riddle and Tommaso Ciampa came out to even odds. Then, as expected, Balor came out and hit Riddle with a sling blade, and a missile drop kick, I believe, into the ring steps on Riddle, if I'm not mistaken. This was during the match. This was not after the match. Excuse me. And again, Keith Lee picked up the victory on that. And then after the match, Undisputed Era attacked Lee. and Ciampa was trying to, but that wasn't enough because the numbers game. And Dominik Dijakovic came out,
He freaking cleaned house.
clean out, and wiped out the Undisputed Era. And Ciampa shook his hand, and then Keith Lee was in the ring behind him. They turned around, they stared at each other because they had some hellacious battles, some matches. Keith Lee extends his hand, and they shook. And like you said, so that replaces Riddle, but he still have one more spot to go, and that could be Velveteen Dream.
And to me, like there should be no other guy.
I don't know who else you would do. I don't know who else you would be.
Yeah. Unless you for some reason pick someone from the main roster, but I mean, like, it just I don't know who else you could possibly pick here that and like not being Velveteen Dream here.
And then we had Isaiah Swerve Scott defeat Bronson Reed. I guess another match to enhance Swerve. I really didn't watch it. I was watching. I was doing other stuff at the match was going on. So I was kind of in and out. I really didn't really watch it. It is what it was. And then we had Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane, but it didn't start because Damian Priest attacked Dane from behind, I think, on the entrance ramp. And they fought out there. And that helps set up the triple threat match at NXT TakeOver. Some good action there for that. Then the main event, we had Io Shirai against Mia Yim in a ladder match. The winner would secure the War Games advantage. Now, the story going into this match was that members of Mia's team on that War Games match were getting mysteriously attacked outside of NXT. So you had that overarching story going into this main event. I think this match, again, I was in and out, started somewhat slow, but got going near the end. Mia really got busted open. She was holding the a ladder, like horizontal, and Io Shirai was going off the top rope and hit a missile drop kick and hit the ladder and hit her right in the face, and she was really bleeding. They had like cut away from that because the doctors and trainers were helping her. And they show the replays. She got some good whiplash. She got busted open the hard way. And at the end of the match, or during the match, Dakota Kai came out, and it was teased earlier in the night before the match. Dakota Kai was like, with Mia, I have your back. And it was a good tease because Dakota Kai got overlooked by Rhea Ripley for Yim to not be on the team. So you probably thought, would Dakota attacking people? Is there a heel turn? You would think, but near the end of the match, Mia Yim had the clear advantage climbing up the ladder, but the NXT UK Women's Champion Kaylee Ray came out and was attacking Dakota Kai outside the ring into the steel steps, and threw Mia Yim off the ladder that was set up in the ring, through a ladder that was set up across the ring in the barricade, and went through that. That looked like it hurt. A good little spot there, and Io Shirai comes up with the victory and gets her team the War Games advantage. Again, like I said, I think it started slow, but it was a good ending and a solid match for those two women. I think a good showing for both. And I believe next week there's a ladder match for the men's War Games. Who's the match? I forgot who's in it. It's slipping my mind right now.
It's a Dijak.
Dijak, yeah. And who else? Oh my God!
It's not Adam Cole, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Or is it Kyle O'Reilly?
Maybe I can look that up at Sarah. I don't have it here. But as the show goes off the air, that's not it. Shayna Baszler comes out to congratulate Io Shirai winning and to give her nod of approval to Kaylee Ray. But as quick as she came out to give her approval, Bayley comes out of nowhere and attacks Shayna Baszler, I believe, with a chair, and then slammed her into her title on the ramp, knocking her out.
Is it me, or is Bayley trying way too hard to be a heel? Like, I feel like that she's like that she's trying way too hard, and that it's kind of turning me off with her at this point. Maybe it's just me, but like I feel like that it's to the point of like of trying too hard that you're kind of losing me, sort of thing.
I don't know. I really don't know, but still, we don't know who attacked Rhea Ripley, Tegan Nox, and
I would imagine it was probably Bayley.
But Jasmine Duke and Candice LeRae were attacked too. So it wasn't just the faces or heels; it was both.
Yeah.
So when I first saw that, I think Jasmine Duke and Candice LeRae, I believe, I'm not mistaken, as it says here. I'm using this article. I'm thinking. I thought it was maybe SmackDown, maybe Bayley. But then with Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox, and then the tease from Dakota Kai, like maybe Dakota Kai is doing that. And then when Kaylee Ray came out, I thought they went to her. So we don't know. So that's still hanging out out there. Hopefully we see for next week. But in my opinion, you can look at both shows. I think it was, again, solid night for both. I was looking back and forth between my laptop and the TV, seeing what I wanted to watch and trying to look at both at the same time.
And then the ratings came out. Which I believe was interesting to me. Yeah, like this didn't really surprise me.
It didn't surprise that AEW still won, but Dynamite went up from 822,000 last week to 950,000.
100,000 viewers.
About 130 more.
Yep.
And then NXT from last week was just slightly behind at 813,000, but dropped to 750,000. A little less than, not even 100,000. It didn't fall that much, but it still fell. AEW drew in the important 18 to 49 demographic, .43 rating, and NXT with .25.
I mean, like, my takeaway was, and I said this last week, I wonder if NXT, if this was going to be sustainable, just because it was such a big draw with AJ and the club being there, and I think we kind of got our question answered, at least for this week.
I think the post Full Gear show helped too.
Cody, I think the whole thing with Cody and MJF and Moxley and Kenny clearly had a lot of people interested. I'm just and I kind of said this from the start. Like, I think in order for NXT to truly compete with AEW and somehow beat them on a weekly basis, they're going to need to add some main roster guys. It's just, I think that is perfectly clear, at least for me right now. But hey, two very, very good shows.
Mhm.
Like it's like I said, Wednesdays are my sanctuary as a professional wrestling fan. This is exactly what I want. And I'm not going to even like compare both shows because they're both clearly better than anything that either SmackDown or freaking Raw is giving us right now. So like I'm thankful for that. We have something to look forward to every single week.
We got something to look forward to next Tuesday at 11 o'clock on FS1 because this past Tuesday in WWE Backstage at the very end, Renee Young had a surprise and she counted down. And at 0, you had Cult of Personality. And one of the big news stories of the week, CM Punk. CM Punk is back in the wrestling business, if you will. Maybe not wrestling,
No.
but
a Fox employee
talking about WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a surprise. Because I didn't watch it live. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a nice behind-the-scenes little mini documentary of him backstage leading up to that moment. Excuse me, which was pretty cool. So I'm interested to see how he says what happens next week with that, what he has to say. It's going to be interesting.
I think it's pretty clear though he's going to be back. He's going to be back wrestling at some point.
I think if anything, I can see it get a payday
WrestleMania
at a Mania.
Yep.
I think that's a perfect time. It's what month is it? It's November.
Yep.
You can come back, build.
And he said like he would only come back for a lot of like money, but supposedly according to the Observer, and Brian Alvarez specifically, supposedly AEW offered him a lot of money and he turned it down from like Tony Khan. So I'm hoping that ends or it squashes any sort of like rumors of that company like I'm shortchanging him sort of thing. But getting back on topic here, I mean it's gonna happen. I'm like
how can it not?
Yeah, like this was, I feel like, just to get him back in the company. It's like similar. It's similar to when with like Sting when he was part of the WWE video game. And that was
or that panel. I think that panel.
Yeah. Like I feel like that this is just going to be the start, and eventually there is going to be a WrestleMania match. Or 2 or 3. Like he's clearly is going to be working a Lesnar's schedule. I mean, like he shouldn't be on TV every single week. He should be,
or at least wrestling every single week.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's definitely some potential good feuds, but
there's one in mind that I think writes itself. I don't know if you want to see it or people want to see it, but there's enough material, and that is him and Triple H. And storyline wise,
yes, but I just don't care. Like honestly, like and
I think it would be a good build.
I mean, I guess it would be. It's just like that does like for me it does absolutely nothing.
I feel like it's something like they would do. But I
like
think
personally, like, and this is just for me specifically, like him in the WWE doesn't really do anything for me because it's the status quo. I mean, like if he was in AEW and they were to do like say like him versus Kenny, him versus Moxley, him versus Cody, which there was a little bit of a small story there too, with supposedly offering him a contract and everything. Like it just like I would get more behind those there, and it's just like I find myself harder and harder to get excited about anything concerning with WWE's main roster.
I think there's people there that weren't there when he left 2014, which we were there live for his last match.
Yeah,
I'm kind of excited because I'm interested to see what happens. But we'll see what happens next Tuesday, how he does, and all that fun stuff. But let's get to the last segment, the news segment of the podcast. Is the funny story of the night. In fact, I got two.
Please don't suck.
I don't know. I searched long and hard for this.
That's what she said.
So here's a story on the website here. I have this probably linked down below in the description. This was, I believe, out of Sydney, Australia, and this was, I think, published on Halloween, I think. So what are you doing? What are you breathing? Stop ruining the segment. Darth Vader sleeping.
No, Ultimate Warrior, man. Come on.
No. So we have here, I don't want to read this. A 48-year-old former prison inmate had been suffering from sinus infections, nasal congestion, and headaches for years.
There we go.
United Press International reported. Doctors treating the man performed a CT scan and discovered a rhinolith, if I'm saying that right, a stone made of calcium in his nasal cavity, which, when removed, was found to have formed around a small balloon with cannabis inside. The patient then recalled that when he was in prison about 18 years before, his girlfriend had smuggled in the balloon during the visit, and he had inserted it into his nose to hide it, but he pushed it too far in and assumed he had swallowed it. The unnamed man is surely breathing easier these days. And they come up with that last line. Don't do drunks and stick them in your nose with a balloon.
Ouch.
And the last story, just the title alone probably get you going. It's a Florida story.
I think I know what you're talking about. That because I believe like Mikey and Bob did to this.
What do you think it is?
Huh?
What do you think it is?
Is it the guy who had something shoved up his rectum or something?
No.
Okay.
No. It wasn't that.
because they did a small segment with something shoved up.
You could have said anything. It would be a Florida story, but
Okay.
it is.
I'm like a Florida man.
Okay. I'm not going to even read the title. I'm just going to start reading the story because it's pretty much says it there. A Florida woman allegedly bit her boyfriend's penis and threatened him with a knife after she accused him of wanting to have sex with another woman. The alleged assault happened during an hours-long drinking session in Miami Beach that ended at about 3 a.m. I think this past Wednesday. Esperanza Gomez, who is 33, was drinking beers with her boyfriend when a female friend joined them about midnight, according to the report. The friend left a short time later, but Gomez became enraged and accused her boyfriend of wanting to bed the woman. That's the quote. She allegedly shouted at him, grabbed him by the arms, and began to poke him with a knife, according to a police report. She then bit his penis out of frustration. Gomez was arrested and hit with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, according to the records, and her bond was set at $6,500. Assault with assault that weapon. Well, it's only floor stories. Those are the two I could come up with. I could find. It's hard to find weird stories. Another one. I don't know if it's so much funny but weird. I read, but I didn't want to say, but I'll just read the title. Louisiana man 29 pretending to be handicapped teen to trick healthcare worker into changing diaper.
Oh my god.
So he can get aroused.
Oh my
Which that not so much funny, but just gets into whole legality. So yeah, those are the weird, funny stories of the week. I wish you could see the picture he showed me. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, I'm gonna try to find just weird stories. Hopefully, better that we can laugh and make fun of people that are stupid.
Outside of ourselves, that is.
Yes. If you know us, especially me, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Yes. So I believe that will wrap it up. If John, do you have anything else you thought of you want to say?
Nope. I think that should wrap it up for this week.
Yes,
Matthew.
yes. You know what to do. The same spiel. Like this video. Comment on it. Subscribe to the channel. And ring a ding ding. Ring that bell. So you know when the next video is. Usually Saturdays at 3 p.m. Could be a little late depending on when I edit and upload. Usually I do that the same day. But new episodes every Saturday. And with that, we'll see you next week. Another new thing happened in the wrestling world. Maybe some Disney Plus talk. Who knows? But with that, for John, I'm Matt. We're out. Have a good one.